Hey everyone, it's ENDYMION, and today we got quite a bit of news to cover surrounding the games industry, from Ubisoft's employees going on strike right before the holiday season, a Sweet Baby Inc. employee that started everything getting fired, Dragon Age pre-orders not impressing, and a based game director telling woke freaks to kick rocks, and more. There's a lot to go over, so let's just dive into this. Firstly, Ubisoft's employees have begun striking at various studios owned by the publisher, and it's now looking good for them. It seems this strike all started because of a September email that was sent to all employees worldwide who are employed by Ubisoft that they would not be allowed to work from home anymore. Currently, as of the making of this video, the strike is planned to last at least 3 days of employees refusing to work at Ubisoft due to these demands. But of course, if demands are met, like any good strike, this could continue even more as time goes on, of course. There is an interview in French that was posted by Pirate Nation, but I doubt I can show the full interview because of copyright issues. But to paraphrase what was being explained in the news footage, Ubisoft's employees are revolting and they're not happy at all about this. One guy interviewed has been working at Ubisoft for 9 years and believes that the erasure of work from home is pointless, as it has zero positive effects on employee morale or creativity, whether they're home working or at an office. What's extra interesting is there's another guy later interviewed in the news footage that is a union representative for Ubisoft employees. And he states very clearly that if this strike is not resolved now, before it gets worse, Ubisoft's future titles could be even further delayed. Yes, that includes stuff like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is already delayed till February 2025. The union representative says the reason why they firmly believe Ubisoft will not win in this order against employees is because many employees have obligations that are tying them to working from home. Taking care of children or elderly family members is some of these examples that are given. Why is Ubisoft doing this, you may be asking? Well, it could be a few things. One, I know for sure, is that a lot of work from home being axed by corporations is because these companies rent or they buy entire buildings that are meant to be used for their employees as a workspace. And in the case of renting, the leases are usually for years, if not decades. And if you have a big building you rent it out for people to work in, and there's not enough people to work in said building, to make the payment of the rent that you spent viable, then you're basically wasting money for no reason on empty space not being used to make you any money. So corpos oftentimes force people into these buildings with mandates to justify their spending of office space rental or whatnot. Is it stupid? Absolutely. I think erasing work from home is completely moronic, especially in a world now where people are more connected than ever before. If someone who is insanely talented can work on your game, but they're 1,000 miles away, would you rather lose their talent to a rival studio, or just let them stay where they are and then talk to you via Streamlabs or Zoom, Skype, or whatever other software they want to use, and then you guys can just talk that way and it's fine? I mean, plenty of people have online friends. I mean, Discord proves this alone. I think the old way of looking at developing games, it makes zero sense in my opinion. After all, you have games like Crosscode back in the day that were made by devs from all over the world, most of whom have never met in real life, yet they made an award-winning game anyways. This is just Ubisoft being idiots like usual. My other conspiracy theory idea here is that Ubisoft wants everyone to return to the office because it allows them to keep an eye on these employees better when it comes to leaking of confidential information on the games within the publisher. It's a lot harder to track what your employees are saying and doing when their computers aren't exactly under your control. And I mean, based on the leaks I've been given, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people were work-from-home employees. I don't know if they are, by the way. I'm just speculating that, but the point still stands. They likely want to squeeze their iron grip on the employees and make sure that they all fall in line, and it's much easier to do that if everyone has to commute to an office, pretty much. Currently, there's 50 people protesting at the Montpellier, I don't know how to say that, Montpellier, whatever, Ubisoft studio. Around 100 employees walking out in the Paris studio, and other offices in Annecy and Lyon are also taking part of this as well. According to the union for these workers, all in all, it's about 700 employees currently on strike at Ubisoft, and that's right now, as the story is just breaking. It could easily multiply and get far worse as time goes on if demands are not met. As one employee interviewed said, how long will it be before they start laying off workers and downgrading their ambitions? And they're right. I mean, if you want your employees to lose trust in you and leave the company forever, this is a great way to do it, Ubisoft. The company has already lost 90% of their value in 4 years, they haven't had a hit game all year and then some, and DEI policies are eating and rotting away the company out from the core as we speak. But that's what I got for you on the story right now. It's not looking good for Ubisoft, but let's continue. Next up is Sweet Baby. Some background lore quickly. If you don't know, Gamergate 2 was started when Chris Kindred of Sweet Baby Inc. decided to try to get Cabrutus Rambo cancelled and banned from Steam for making a Steam detector list that compiles all of Sweet Baby Inc.'s games onto it. This of course backfired tremendously, and Gamergate 2 was born out of this situation. Well, this same Chris Kindred that started everything and put a bullseye on Sweet Baby Inc. has now been confirmed to have been fired by Sweet Baby's founders recently. This was confirmed by Gothic Therapy, which is ran by friend of the channel Master of the TDS and his wife, who both run that channel together. They were confirmed by a source that Kindred was indeed fired and let go by Sweet Baby for effectively ruining their games and their DEI war on players. As Master of the TDS said via Twitter, Kindred has removed any mention of Sweet Bing Bong Baby from their profile, and this rings true across other socials. Master of the TDS and his wife shared screenshots of their source speaking to them, of course concealing their name, but here's what the source said via DMs. Chris Kindred isn't part of Sweet Baby Inc. anymore. Many people were not happy with what he had done, so he left, pushed out. Nothing was shared publicly for obvious reasons, but that is latest. Again, don't want to get involved in all of this, but that's the above. I should note during my live stream I did recently with Grum, Smash JT, Vera Dark, Master of the TDS, and Hypnotic, you can watch that in the live section of my channel if you want to, but TDS shared that this source was also very upset with how Smash JT was being treated by Sweet Baby and people like Alyssa Mercanti as well, who works at Kotaku. So it seems that to some degree, we don't know their name of course, but this source that is close to Sweet Baby is very much not happy with what SBI has been doing to games, not to mention the bad actors within that company and how they're harming players and public images of others too. Do I feel bad for Chris Kindred? No, not at all. I think they're an awful person, and the fact they attempted to use their limited power to force a platform into silencing Cabrutus Rambo is disgusting to me. There's no other way to put it. Cabrutus did nothing wrong. It was his right as a consumer to make a list to be used by others. The same way on Steam right now, there's lists for stuff like RPGs, action games, or whatever else. He did nothing wrong, and because of Chris Kindred, it has birthed an armada of support and voices within the game's community that in my opinion is for the better. Players deserve more. I fight for the integrity of gamers every single day. I mean, remember just a bit ago when I got attacked by CD Projekt Red and their employees for calling out their DEI policies, and then I got called a liar and then proved them wrong and Uno reversed their own attacks onto them? The point is that the rot in this industry does not want that same rot to be purified. They are like a cancer that refuses to be uprooted because they are currently siphoning millions of dollars in profit out of the games and the studios that employ these parasites like Kim Belair or Chris Kindred of Sweet Baby Inc. As I said in my previous video, Kim Belair stated that SBI has their hands in over 80 video games as of right now this instant. Mind you, on their website, they mention barely even 30 of those games right now. So yeah, you got at least 50 or so more games coming in the next year or two that will have the stink of the poopy baby in some way, shape, or form. And they will be hiding their involvement going forward because of the backlash created thanks to people like Chris Kindred who decided to run their mouths. But like I said in some previous videos, thankfully I have good faith in knowing that we as a community have the ability to recognize pattern recognitions within the products we buy these days. And even without Sweet Baby Inc.'s name being publicly stated on a product, the players will still find out. Either through the credits of these games or cross-referencing of aliases they may be using, but I think the easiest way to tell if SBI is involved is simply by looking at what the game is and what it's pushing. For example, Unknown 9 Awakening comes out in 2 days as of the making of this video. You likely have not heard of it much, and I don't blame you. It's a game where you play Haruna, an Indian woman who is looking for these immortal humans that have the knowledge of human history within them. As you can tell from this trailer playing right now, Haruna is exclusively killing and fighting pretty much only white men. Which of course is, like I said, a pattern recognition that you can see and immediately start connecting the dots back to Sweet Baby Inc. They hate white people. It just is true. They also hate white men especially. So it doesn't surprise me this Unknown 9 game is a power fantasy about an Indian woman massacring white men left and right as she tears through them. At this point, none of this should surprise us, and sadly it doesn't. But it should also be stated that Unknown 9 doesn't have any hype behind it, and the pre-orders are abysmal too. I'm very interested to see what it debuts at in terms of Steam numbers. If I had to guess, it'll be less than 500 players, if that. I would honestly be shocked if it did anything close to that at release. The game is also $70 Canadian or $50 American, which I mean, looking at this is not worth that money at all, man. But games like Unknown 9 Awakening, which is a generic-ass name, are 100% Sweet Baby products. I mean, Kim Belair, the co-founder of SBI, is the story architect of this game. I wish I was kidding. So everything that is happening here is being designed from the top down with Kim Belair's insights and opinions. Here's a bit of my stream recently where me, Grums, and Smash JT speak on this. Like, just look at this, man.
When I covered this on my channel, I found out when I was researching it, I found out that it also has like a comic book series and a what was the other? A soundtrack, an art book, cartoons. Like they have this whole like anthology series and build
Can
up.
Can I just point out something that people watching real quick? So she's fighting, right? All the guys that she's fighting, white guy, another white guy here. If you go right here, there's a white guy. She pulls him in.
They're all
ginger white guy, another white guy she's beating right there. And we'll keep going. Oh, there's a white guy there. There's a white guy right there. You can't see his face with the icons in the way. My bad. There we go. So she's fighting 5 white guys. There's another white guy right here. And she's there's another same white guy again. There's another white guy shooting at her right there. See that? All white men. None of them are anything else. There's no women she's fighting. It's just all white men. Very surprising. Very interesting. But the game is about a pair. See, look. She takes over a white guy, makes the white guy attack the other white guy, grabs this white guy, makes him shoot the other white guy. Now this white guy is going to shoot that white guy. So, look, see what I mean?
Yep.
It's so blatant. It's so blatant. You can't. You're lying to yourself. If you say anything else besides, like, look at this skinny Indian woman knocking out a full grown not just white guy, just full grown dude in general. She's so badass, isn't she?
Girl power.
Look at her. That's the same chick that plays what's her name, Yennefer in The Witcher, the TV show.
Yep.
Anya Tralotra or something like that. And it honestly just looks like Forspoken, but somehow worse. As you can tell, she can like basically possess people's bodies or something, and then she can like use their powers, I guess. It gives me sort of the vibes of Forspoken meets Plague Tale, but a Plague Tale was actually a great game. This just looks like ass. Like, I don't know how else to put it to you. You know, like, I don't know if
it looks like a PlayStation 3 game that is just generic.
There's no way she'll be able to shrug off her involvement with this game like she tried with Alan Wake 2, which I debunked in my previous video, by the way, already. They wish that they were getting the kinds of sale numbers that Japanese companies were in comparison. For example, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has been confirmed to have sold over 3 million copies in one day of release. If you took every Sweet Baby game this year and combined their sales, it wouldn't even come close to 5% of that at best in terms of sales. Nobody wants this slop. Nobody's going to buy Unknown 9 Awakening. We're sick of games with strong girl boss main characters that are just mercilessly killing almost exclusively white men as bad guys. Of course, they're going to call you bigots and istophobes if it fails, but at this point, saying stuff like that is just a badge of honor from these people. Their insults mean nothing anymore. It's like a fly swinging by your face. You just swat them away and keep walking. This insanity cannot continue on forever. It simply cannot. The money these games are making compared to what's actually selling is eventually going to cause these ideologies to be dropped as the market speaks on what it really wants. I should also point out just how confident these industry grifters were before they got discovered by the general populace. So Dread Roberts, another YouTuber, found one of the original pages from the Sweet Baby website from years ago. You can't find this anymore. They have completely scrubbed their website and changing things around now, but there was this one page where it kind of just tells you everything that they are going for over there at SBI. Mind you, this section of the SBI website was written around the time of George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, so 2020. Here's what it says, and let's read along. Hi, I'm Kim Belair, and I'm a black woman working in games. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a black and queer-owned narrative development company working in indie and AAA spaces around the world. Right now, things feel scary, uncertain, infuriating, and heartbreaking in light of the government-sanctioned violence being perpetuated against black communities. It is important that we not only say something, but do something. It is challenging enough to navigate this world as a black person and to find solace, solidarity, and support. This is equally true for black people working in and adjacent to the games industry. Where opportunities are rarely afforded, help is rarely given, and Black and other marginalized voices are ignored, silenced, or actively threatened. We want to help in what ways we can. To that end, Sweet Baby is firstly donating funds, but we also want to help Black devs and aspiring devs find their footing and get concrete help in the industry. With an aim to get people the credits and paid experience needed to make headway, as well as providing counsel, support, and venting space, we set up this email, they then show this email, and then we invite you to reach out and let us know what you need, even if it's just a listening ear. We'll help where we can. At the very least, we can offer advice, calls, portfolio punch-ups, marketing help, Q&As, and conversational space. Wherever possible, we'll work to connect you with paid work, training, and connection with experienced developers across disciplines. We are here for you now, and we'll be here for you in the future. Let's make good stuff together. Black Lives Matter. So like I said, this section of the website existed in 2020. Since then, of course, DEI has completely overran the industry from top to bottom, and there's no questioning that. Although saying Black devs are not given opportunities is ridiculous, considering places like CD Projekt Red have signed diversity charters that force them to promote people of color into roles of power within their companies, even if experience-wise they don't meet the criteria of that job. This is all wild to see, but sadly doesn't surprise me much at all. Again, shout out to Dread Roberts for finding this as well. It's just sad to see, man. SBI says they are narrative designers who do not force DEI. They are not a DEI company, but they do want to make sure you know that it's Black and queer owned, as if that means anything when it comes to said quality. They literally want to just give you slop, and then you can ask, but is this slop any good? And then they will just say it's Black and queer made. Yeah, okay, but is it any good though? How's the quality? It's Black and queer made. I understand that, but you're a bigot. Listen, I don't care who makes what, alright? I've been to Chinese restaurants owned and operated by Japanese people. Hell, I've been to quite a few Mexican joints that are owned by Filipinos. As long as the food is good and the product is worth buying, that's all that matters. Ghost of Tsushima is considered one of the most accurate portrayals of Japanese culture in gaming, and it wasn't even made in Japan. It was made in California, for God's sake, and the director of that game is some white guy. Future ENDYMION here. They're actually located in Washington. My bad, but the point still stands. None of this identity stuff matters. I don't care if the person making me teriyaki chicken is from the motherland. All that matters is that it's worth the money that I'm spending on it and it tastes good. I hate this whole you need to be this thing to make this thing mentality. Like, did you know that the Black Panther game from Electronic Arts has a predominantly Black dev team? What the hell does being Black have to do with making a good game about Black Panther? The character wasn't even invented by Black people to begin with. Two white guys in a room smoking cigarettes came up with Wakanda and T'Challa. So why would you need Black devs to make a game about a Black superhero? Doesn't make any sense at all. The point of the matter is, as soon as anyone makes a point to tell you their ethnicity or sexual identity, when it comes to proving and or supporting why the thing they're selling you is better because of those things, just know it's just complete nonsense. I've eaten Jamaican patties made by Indian people in Ontario, and trust me, they taste the exact same as the ones made by Black people. I don't need to check some list before I buy something like this beyond if the people making the game or whatever hate me or not. You got Black devs on your team? Cool, I don't care. You got some white guy making a Japanese game? Cool, I also don't care. All I care about is, are the people making the game insane who think I don't deserve to live because I'm a straight white male? And are they swamped in identity politics and crazy woke nonsense? As soon as these people pull the racism card, my wallet closes instantly. I don't care, I'm not supporting you. DEI in general is a cancer, and this brings me to this next topic, which is Thomas Mahler, the CEO of Moon Studios. I talked about him recently. He's also the director of the Ori games and No Rest for the Wicked. He owned Alyssa Mercanti recently. I did a video on that like 2 or so videos ago if you want to check it out. Anyway, Thomas Mahler was asked about DEI via Twitter and what he thinks about it. Here's what he said, and I quote, "I'm still every now and then getting questions on whether we force DEI stuff into the games we're making, so let me make it clear once and for all. Absolutely not. I find that entire approach perverted. I'm an artist. I would rather quit than have someone else tell me how we should do our art. That would make a mockery out of everything I believe in. I've been very much outspoken on how I feel about consulting, and I still very strongly feel that if people haven't lived the process and don't have to think about the issues at hand 24/7, they will always deliver worse work than those who do. When it comes to the stories we're telling, I always approach it from a human angle first and foremost, and let the story tell me where it needs to go. If it tickles me to have a gay character in our story, and I feel like that character could be fascinating, then I will push for that. But I would never make a character gay simply because some outside party told me that it's hip to do so and that we might face backlash if we don't. Art fundamentally doesn't work that way. Everyone has stories inside of them that are based on the experiences that they went through in their lives, and to me, what elevates art beyond just craft is when you've reflected enough to know who you are and then let those stories out, because those experiences that you live through are most likely experiences that other people can relate to that will speak to them in a profound manner because they're real. Ori and the Blind Forest in many ways was about me reflecting on what it was like to see my father dying of cancer when I was 10 and being grateful to my mom. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, on the other hand, was written when we all started to have kids in the studio and imagining what it would be like to have a kid with a disability. I wrote the first draft of No Rest for the Wicked quite some time ago, and that has also came from a very specific place. I hope that clarifies it for everybody. I've had to learn the hard way what it means to be an artist, and I'd never let anyone take that away from me." End quote. Said like a true artist, Thomas Mahler spits in the face of the agenda that is rotting out the industry right now. DEI and pandering like Sweet Baby Inc. is a literal cancer that is genuinely killing your favorite game studios. Even if said studios refuse to admit it, because we know if they do, they'll be consumed by their so-called friends. It's a cult, a religion, a brain virus that works to rewrite the critical thinking pathways of your brain until you cannot distinguish lies from reality. Like a good indoctrinated sheep, you will utter whatever the cult tells you is real, and even when presented with quantifiable evidence that these practices are killing the very studios and futures of hundreds and thousands of devs' lives, the damage that has been done on these people's brains is so evident that they will not see reason no matter what you tell them. Look at Dragon Age Veilguard. Comes out at the end of October. I already said many times I will be reviewing the game because we all know it is going to be a big topic of discussion. And I also need footage of the game, so by playing it, I'll get the footage I need. Anyway, I want to explore that game and see if DEI has killed BioWare or not for sure. I want to see firsthand how far down the agenda goes, if at all. We know about the trans surgery scars, we know about the body types 1 or 2 nonsense, but is the story ruined? I am curious to find out. So let me suffer through the game and see if these experiences are bad so you don't have to. Besides, my one purchase is not going to save the studio, but it could save thousands of others from buying it too. Who knows? Maybe it's a great game and the pandering stops after its character creator, but I sincerely doubt it, but we'll see. It's probably not a good look that Veilguard is 2 weeks from release and still hasn't entered the top 50 on Steam. Although, I wager once reviews come out and if they're strong that could change this, but the game has moved up on wish lists. But it was said in the That Park Place article that this wasn't necessarily due to people following the game more or anything like that, but more so because other games that were higher on the list, like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor Refantazio, or Refantazio, however you say it, have obviously come out already finally, and so they were removed from the wish list because they, like I said, are out now officially. Also, according to YouTuber Dr. Disaster, who said, "I have an acquaintance in the retail world, someone who runs 9 stores that sells video games. And I'm hearing that these ratios that we're seeing in damn near every video release for Dragon Age the Veilguard, these ratios are correlating with piss poor pre-sales data. People are not connecting with the Veilguard because Dragon Age games are supposed to be dark and gritty, and this just looks completely soft." Also, Craig of Sidescroller stated his source told him in over 900 plus stores in America that there's only 1,957 pre-orders for Veilguard, less than 2,000 in all of those stores. And by the way, I know which source Craig is talking to because they've spoken to me as well, and they showed me evidence of such claims too. So less than 2K pre-orders 2 weeks from release in a major retailer like the one this source is from? Yeah, it's not looking good, fellas. We'll have to see, of course, when things get closer, but when I tell you that DEI is a bad thing for games, I genuinely mean it. The only diversity in gaming that really matters is your armory, abilities, and the enemies that you can fight. I could care less if someone identifies whichever way in a video game, it means nothing to me. If someone tells me they're non-binary in a game or even in real life, all that tells me is you're a very uninteresting human being who needs to come up with something to make up for your lack of individuality. So you just say things to sound more interesting. Oh, you're becoming a doctor. You're going to Europe this summer? Well, I'm non-binary. Okay, whatever you say, now please leave us alone. All of this is nonsense. Kudos to Thomas Mahler for telling these freaks to kick rocks. Dragon Age is not looking great, but we'll see as it gets closer to release. Ubisoft is cooked medium rare at this point, and things just keep getting worse. And sweet Billy Bong babies getting ousted so often by even people close to them, and now they're starting to eat their own just like I said they always do when people fall out of line. It's tiring always being this right, but that's okay, we keep keeping on, fellas. Have a wonderful day, subscribe, thanks to all my supporters, enjoy your lives, and I'll see you soon.